Welcome to another episode of Queen3 and King. How y'all doing this evening? We not like the black church. When we say we're going to start at 7:30, we start at 7:30.
Yeah.
We don't give you no CP time around here.
No.
Welcome to my co-host, Queen Lily and Queen Bay from way back. Or Queen Bee, excuse me.
Yeah.
We are missing Queen Methuselah.
What? She gonna get you.
She is out celebrating her youngest son's 21st birthday, so they getting sloshed. I'm sure they probably drinking and smoking up everything in South Texas. Welcome to another episode of Queen3 and King, where today's topic is If I Knew Then What I Know Now.
Yeah.
Now, wisdom and experience are priceless. A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument. Well, on this episode of Queen3 and King, we gonna discuss it. What types of wisdom have you gained through the experience as it relates to parenting, finances, relationships, spiritual life, etc.? Well, we're going to find out in just a moment. But first, let's go to our co-host. And since we are missing the oldest queen, Queen Mother, we're going to start with the baby queen and do stuff a little different. We're going to go to the one and only Blake's mama, Lily. Say what up to the people.
Hey, everybody. We missed y'all. We back.
Sort of.
Stop.
See, they assumed that I meant we sort of missed y'all. I was saying we're sort of back. See how people just make assumptions?
We're back.
We're sort of back. You know, we're missing.
We're back. We're missing one, but we're still.
The Queen of Anna, Texas. No, I was talking about missing y'all, sort of. Anyway, let's see. And next, we go to the educator, Meba. The Queen of Tulsa, standing at 5'3¼ tall. What up, Queen?
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
So glad to see y'all.
That sounded fake.
Oh
my God. You need to calm down.
I think he needs some rest after them Virgin Islands event.
Yeah, maybe that's what what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Hey, still on island time. And if you know, you know. All right, let's go ahead and go to a couple of comments. We got Amarita saying hi, family.
Hey.
We got Ben Sutter III, also known as Trey. Sup, y'all. He trying to be cool, even though he's from Cali. You can't tell because he's from another part of Cali, I think. We got Grace Rabia Woods say, hey, you are.
She don't do that. She said, hey, y'all.
Maybe she was trying to do that old Outcast song. Hey, y'all. I don't know.
Hey, Grace.
Oh, she corrected it, y'all. And Rita, hey, family.
Hey, Rita.
And Transcend Mon X. Hey there. What's up, Mon?
What up, Mon?
All right. So, again, this episode, if I knew then what I know now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start this conversation, and we'll start it with Mika. What do you wish you knew then that you know now in terms of finances?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to say to start my 403B earlier in my 20s.
Everybody know you're educated. You don't have to start saying stuff that only educators know, but go ahead.
What?
Yeah, what? Most people got 401ks. You could have said that, and nobody wouldn't have called you on it.
But in educator land, we have 403Bs.
Don't nobody care.
Go on with your story. Go on with your story.
Y'all got more than 403Bs. Y'all got
go on with your story, Mika. Go on with your story. Don't even pay him no mind.
Go ahead. With your business.
So I think starting that earlier, soon as I got out of college, well, as soon as I started teaching, even if it was $60, $70 a month, rather than trying to play catch up now and trying to put more in there, but rather starting in my 20s, early 20s, it would have been a much greater amount in there now, but I didn't know about it.
Okay. So why didn't you know about it?
Well, like you said, a lot of people in the business world have 401ks, and in the teacher world, we have 403bs that you can add to, but we also have a teacher retirement fund. So I have money going into the teacher retirement fund, but you can also have an additional savings account, which is a 403b. So having both would have made, and you can take out of, you can borrow or take from that account anytime you need it.
You still didn't ask my question. Why didn't you know?
Because I just thought I had a teacher retirement fund until I went to this conference and somebody told me about it.
Nobody told you. And so as an educator, what are you doing to help young educators know this?
Well, as we mentor teachers or when I help recruit teachers, one of the first things I do is talk to them about the 403b, stating that teacher retirement fund is great. Of course, your money automatically goes into there. You can't tell them how much. They take as much as they want to out of your check and put it into that account. But telling them, even if you started with $50 to $100 every month, and you see that grow in 5 years, you can have, $6,000-7,000 that you didn't even know, and it's tax free. So,
All right, baby queen, what do you wish you had knew then that you know now in terms of finances?
Save those coins. So learn to just put money back, have a savings, always have something for a rainy day. Don't wait till something happens to try to scramble for money or ask for money, but start putting money back earlier. So I did a lot of, as young people, we spend our money on dumb stuff, like stuff that we can't even see. Now I'm like my daddy. He always says, if I can see my money, I feel good about it. So if I invest in something that I can see, then I feel like it's worth it. But there's been plenty of coins that I've thrown away.
Plenty for me.
Well, that makes me feel better because I can see these chocolate chip cookies. Now, you understand me? All right. So on the earlier comment, Grace Rabia Wood said, "Shut up."
As she should.
I'm doing the podcast. Alina Trader says, "Family."
What up, Lena?
She said, "Save, invest." Grace thought whatever I said was funny, I'm sure. Transcend Monex in terms of Mika's 403b situation. I did not know that. Thank you. Chastity says compound interest. And that brings me to one of my, I wish I'd have known then what I know now. And that is credit card debt, debt freedom in general.
Yeah.
And good credit. That is a hole that I've had to dig out of twice in life, which again, I understand that some people may never dig out of it in life. So I ain't complaining at all by any stretch of the imagination, but debt freedom and maintaining a good credit score is paramount. It's freedom, basically. It is a kind of freedom,
true.
Right? It gives you the freedom to do the things that you want to do, but maybe more importantly, it gives you the freedom to do the things you need to do. There is always a rainy day, in one way or another. There's going to be a rainy day. So maintaining debt freedom and good credit, which really kind of go hand in hand, because if you show you don't have any debt, that is going to help your credit score. So those are the things that I wish I'd learned earlier. But again, young, dumb, school systems didn't really teach the importance of it very much.
Very true.
Et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of our parents and things of that nature, like our mom was a business owner, so she didn't have the type of benefits that you have at a regular corporate job that we went to. So a lot of those things that we went to early on were new. And then like most folks, I'm pretty certain that at age, 18, 19, 20, 21, up to 25, up to 30, you're thinking, oh, I got time. Even when the HR lady at the beginning, when you've been training, explains what a 401k is and all this and profit sharing and all this other kind of stuff, and we'll match up to this amount, you'd be like, oh, I got time. Hell, I'm just 25.
Right now.
You go to sleep and wake up and your ass is 50. Uh, so,
Well, fine. Somebody's speaking from the heart.
so for me, it's that. But I
Yeah.
thank the Lord that He brought me from a mighty long way.
I know.
Hey, glory.
Yeah, bye.
He'll do it. He'll do it.
Honda, I say.
Hey.
Okay. Hey, we just wish I had started a 401k earlier than I did. Right on. Eva Washington. We're gonna put that R in it like the country folks do. Eva Washington Woodard. So proud of you. I can't wait for you guys to become rich. Oh, you ain't gotta
speak
you
it.
ain't gotta wait.
Speak it.
We thank you.
Well, you can donate to our richness. We know you got it, ain't it?
And we come to Cali soon.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. All right. So this next question is, what do you wish you knew then that you know now in terms of parenting? Now, I know Mika don't have any children of her own just yet. However, she done parented the hell out of our kids. So I'm sure when she was trying to teach Katie them sight words and it wasn't going well,
why you gotta always do that?
Because that was the most hilarious. Mika came in, the mamas, and she was all proud, like, oh, we worked on them sight words the other day. She got them now. And she started asking Kate to run through them, and Kate still wasn't. I know you know.
Don't do Alicia like that.
So we're going to talk about what do you wish you knew then that you know now in terms of parenting? What could you have done better? What, those kinds of things. And Lily, we're going to start with that. And then Mika, we're still going to get your perspective on it. Go, Lily.
I would say that it's okay to be wrong.
Oh, wow.
I think that sometimes as parents, we have so much pressure on us to get it right the first time.
100% right.
That we forget to give ourselves grace. Because parenting does not come with a handbook, so they say. So it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of getting better. I know that I'm not the perfect parent. I don't proclaim to be, but I pray every night that I become better than I was that day before. And we had an awesome, we had awesome parents. And I feel like I have that relationship with Mama where I can go and talk to her about everything. And I think that's what I really want to create. And that's what I'm already creating with my kids, especially as Kate, she's 10. So she's getting older. We have our little girl talks and things like that. So I definitely have to say that my thing is just, it's okay to be wrong and just to learn from that and pick up the pieces and do it better the next time.
That's a strong point, and really so strong that we could end the show, because if folks walk away with that, not just in parenting, but in life in general, it's okay to be wrong. Yeah. And in fact, for me, one of the things I learned about that specific, not parenting, but about being wrong, is that if your perspective is right, you learn more from being wrong than you do by being right.
Yes.
In fact, oftentimes you're right on accident. You got it right accidentally. It wasn't because you knew what you were doing. You just accidentally got it right. So you don't learn anything from that. And sometimes that's detrimental to you. So again, to get it wrong sometimes is actually more beneficial to you if your frame of mind and your perspective is right. As a reminder, I'd ask that you please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and continue to support us here at Queen3 and King. We sure appreciate it. And in the comment section, please let us know what are your thoughts on this topic as well as we go along.
Yeah.
Mika, what do you wish you knew then that you knew now in terms of teaching sight words and stuff like that? Because I know that one evening, you were struggling.
I'm stuck between two, but I'm gonna go with.
Well, you got time to give them both.
I'm about to say both.
As you know, anger.
Okay.
As I helped to parent my nieces and nephews, love that job, and as I help with students, when I was in the classroom and all that good stuff. I would become angry sometimes, and that's okay to do as a parent, as an educator, and all that good stuff. But the next day to still be mad,
Yeah.
I had to learn to be. Let me talk to you now. I'm mad. I'm pissed off. Let me get this off my chest, and then a few minutes later, you want to go outside. So you don't stay there.
Yeah.
And so anger and being able to say to a child, because they're a child, sometimes it's hard for you to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which ties into what Lily kind of said about being okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sorry. I messed it up. Or I was angry at X, Y, and Z, and I took it out on you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Been there.
And I can tell you from personal experience, from a child's perspective, that the time that I remember, the one time I remember Mama saying she was sorry to me after she had slapped the hell out of me for something I really didn't do, and she said she was sorry about it. I mean, I'm talking about remember it just like it was yesterday. So my point in that story is that it is impactful for your kids to say that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because they see you as superhero anyway, right? They see you. You don't have to have so much pressure about trying not to make a mistake because they see you as that anyway, right? And it's going to shock them when you mess something up anyway, because they just don't think you have that in you, right? So to say I'm sorry, to apologize for something is, again, going to have such great impact on them. It'll stick with them for, their lives. I guarantee you. And for me, the thing that I would say that I learned, I wish that I learned through experience that I wish I'd have known then, I will tell you as soon as I read some of these comments. See how I suck them in? That's a radio kick right there.
Pull them in.
Nice transition.
Stay tuned and we'll be right back. All right, so a couple of comments. Lena said, "Do not spare the rod," and she had all caps rod. So yeah, the kind of rod you were referring to might get you locked up. Us parenting is not easy for sure. That is 100% correct. In fact, one of my pastors used to say, in terms of pastoring church, he used to say, it ain't no manual and it ain't no school that can teach you how to pastor y'all Africans. He goes, seminary don't teach me how to teach. It teach you the gospel, but it don't teach you nothing about pastoring y'all Africans. That's something different. Well, same thing with parenting. There ain't no book to teach us how to parent kids in general, but African American kids, Black kids, we different, and I think it's part of who we are, part of our greatness, right? That is in us, that is trying to come out, right? That royalty that's already there is trying to come out. It's hard to bridle that. It's hard to kind of restrain that, but not kill that, if that makes any sense, So there is no manual for it. And so for me, I wish I would have shown more love, right? So obviously nobody would, doubt most parents in terms of that they love their children, right? However, how much do we show that? Did I show it enough, right? And my focus was too much on building and providing and, making sure they were safe and, those kind of things. And I didn't take enough time to smell the coffee and show what I felt, right?
Yeah.
I show what I felt often enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's it for me. On those coattails, Weeda says, I wish I had been a better mother. I think we all wish we'd have been better parents. Lena said, waiting until I was at least 25 to have kids. Too late now. Grace said, I wish I did not parent from a place of fear, placing my fear. This placed an inherited fear. Now I'm undoing many things. Right?
Wow.
And that's a good point in terms of it's not too late, right? It's not too late to show that love. It's not too late to, say I'm sorry. It's not too late to, do those kinds of things. So And mom and mom said, "Talk that ish."
Talk that ish.
And Ben says that one time. I'm telling you, that's all I can remember is that one time. And I'm not playing. She's
My
not the good
mama.
at me, but messed up and woke up at the wrong time out of one of them naps, trying to say it's time for choir rehearsal because I was ready to get out the house. That night, my jaw still itch from time to time from that time. I mean, it's
Mine
should
don't.
too.
Mine don't.
Mika should too.
It's her right hand, so it's this left cheek every now and then. And the tear rolls down real slow. And I take that breath. You know that breath you take, hours after you done got away. I took that breath 40 years later. So anyway, all right. So y'all got anything else on parenting and what you wish you would have known then that you know now? Any other thing that we might have missed? That's a good point.
I don't think so.
Nope. Right. So the next one is, what do you wish you knew then that you know now in terms of spirituality? Spirituality. And we'll start with Mika on that first. What do you wish you knew then that you know now in terms of spirituality? And before you get to that, let's read one other comment. I wish I would have never chosen all of my
Oh man.
2016. I asked myself, what the heck was I thinking? And you said that a few times on a few episodes, so we believe you.
Now, and Rita does have a good point. You have to watch who you parent with.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true.
Have babies, because that can cause a lot of problems. And Rita, I get it. I understand it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And how quickly you expose your kids to those individuals you are dating. Y'all still working out stuff. You don't even know if y'all gonna be together past next week. And you already trying to get Bonquisha stepdaddy to come over there and do something. So now wait. All right, spirituality.
Are
you saved, first of all? Maybe.
Sanctified and filled with them.
With what?
Saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost.
Cookies, yeah, but okay. So what do you wish you knew?
Woo! Good Lord.
Let me get the word on the street story ready, because apparently this might take a while. So just get that ready. Do you know?
I have a couple things. The power of the tongue.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm still learning that, because sometimes when I'm going through something or, wanting things to happen and you speak negative on it, it has power. So the power of your tongue, whether it's speaking negative, the power of your prayer through your tongue, like the power of your tongue is one of the things that I want. I mean, that's what I wish I knew when I was younger, because I feel like you speak things and it manifests.
Yeah.
No question about it.
And it can manifest it the next day or 10 years from now, but it's power in whatever you speak. So I would say whatever you speak, you have to watch that in your relationship with God. That even if you don't go to church, talk to him.
Did you straighten your hat well enough? Because it's Nike. But Nike, is that a Nike or a Hikey? I don't know if you got that from Big T Bazaar. No, that's a good point. And what's funny for me in terms of that, it's not what I would say in terms of spirituality, but what's funny for me in terms of that, I'm constantly put in a state of awe when it comes to the things that have manifested themselves that I spoke, right? And when I was going through a spiritual renaissance, Google it, really growing spiritually, let's say, probably about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. No, it was probably longer than that, probably about 15 years ago. And I started speaking things that be not as though they were and that sort of thing. I remember being kind of embarrassed about speaking them because they seemed so outlandish,
Yeah.
you know. And I say that if
Yeah.
I speak, and
That's
I
good.
remember talking to the Lord, and this will tie into mine in a little bit, but we'll get Lily's first. But I remember speaking to the Lord and say, Lord, I can't sound crazy. You know, they're going to start thinking I'm one of them kind of people, because we always know them, right? We all know them that say, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'll never do what they say they're going to do, right? Or I'm going to get this, or I'm going to go here, or whatever. So whenever I would do that sort of thing early on in my spiritual development, I would, you know, be sort of embarrassed about it and be like, Lord, you better come through on some of this stuff pretty quick, because I'm going to quit saying it. You know, folks are sort of looking at me like, you know, I thought that joker said he was going to do this. He ain't did that. One of the first things was, I remember, is when I first got I was going to get a Camaro, right? Because a Camaro was a dream car of mine. It was one of the first cars I owned, and I knew I wanted to get one of the newer models when it came up. And I used to be so subconscious about saying that. And I was trying to follow his lead on when to do it. And I remember I said, oh, I'm gonna get one of those on my birthday in this particular year. But my birthday came up, and the Lord ain't said. He said, "Hey, you said you was gonna get it on your birthday. I didn't. You know, it ain't time." And that made me feel stupid, you know, because I said it, you know. So that's one of the things. So that is a good point. Power of the tongue. And Lily, before I get yours, we got Lena says, "I wish I had knew how to let go and let God." H-Rap said, good evening, Queen and Kings. What's up, H?
Hey.
And it said also the power of prayer, even with a very faithful and praying mother and family, I didn't grasp just how strong or how much prayer changed things for myself.
Yes.
That's
and
good.
one more thing, the anointing that I possess, I believe she wants to say. Lauren Hicks, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Miss Hicks. Appreciate the support on here and the forecast on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Chastity says that my salvation is not dependent upon my works. Which cause perfectionism, people pleasing, and anxiety.
Come on.
Now knowing who Jesus is for myself, I know better that I'm not perfect, but the one who died for me is. And this is now why I strive to be better. Gratitude. And that comment, just simply because it segues on what I was going to say, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here, Lily. My profuse apologies. But knowing who Jesus is for myself. So if I wish I'd have knew then what I know now is the difference between relationship and religion, which we covered in a show a few weeks ago, right? And that is mine, because I grew up in an era that was so keen and dogmatic on women can't wear pants, women can't wear lipstick, they can't cut their hair, you can't drink, you can't smoke, all these things, right? These religion or these religious stereotypes, you know, or whatever. So for me, it was, you know, I wish I'd have knew the importance of a relationship with Christ as opposed to rules and regulations of Christianity and certain denominations. So that's it. Grace says, I wish I would have asked for wisdom sooner. And Weeda says, I wish I'd have left my problems at the altar instead of taking them back home.
It's so hard to do.
Lay your burden at my feet. All right, Lily, what do you wish you would have known that you know now?
I think I'll have to go with the power of prayer and really being specific in your prayers.
That's a good one.
I think that when I was young, I would just pray to say I prayed and not really been specific of what I'm wanting God to do in my life. And I don't know if you know or not, but Teg had mentioned one thing to me that stuck with me for years. And he said, after you pray what you want to happen, then you start thanking God for doing what you've already asked. And that's the mentality that I have now. I'm like, okay, I've already prayed about this. I'm not going to keep praying for it. I'm just going to start thanking God in advance for doing it for me. So that's really what I wish I had known earlier, just to be very specific, because now in getting older and being specific and seeing God manifest those things, it's kind of mind blowing that you'd be like, oh my gosh, if I should have done this earlier or sooner, then maybe I would be in a different space, or maybe I wouldn't have. But just being specific in my prayers.
Pacific or Pacific?
I did not say Pacific.
All right.
Oh,
Is
no.
anyone else having trouble hearing us? I don't think so based on the comments. So, kinfolk, I think their technical difficulties have to do with your track phone. Call your provider and see if your minutes are running out.
Just go out and come back in.
Maybe you out of minutes. Put some more books on your card. I don't know. But if anybody else is experiencing the same thing, let us know. Ain't nothing we can do about it, but just let us know so we know he ain't by himself. I think he by himself. Rucker Park in the house, and if you look closer at the picture, we are so fascinated by these bangs she be rocking.
Yeah,
I see you, Rucker Park. Good evening.
Give it to the people.
Too. All right. Lily.
Already went.
Straight to talking.
Thank you. See, can I do this? This is what I do. Can I do this? You were saying, though, you wish you knew the power of the tongue. Obviously, you don't know it yet. If you did, you keep it in there. Really?
I got something for you.
What?
I got something for you after the show. Amen.
Yeah, that's all right. Lily, it's on you. These streets are talking.
All right. So there's been some things going on in the streets. We haven't really talked in a few weeks about the streets, but I'm not going to harbor on those old things.
All right.
We're just going to focus more on the things that have happened this past week.
Any man be in Christ, he a new creature, and those old things are passed away.
That's what my Bible says.
You know, stuff gets really old in social media land within 24 hours. So,
right. Yeah.
I don't want to go back.
All right.
One thing that I do want to mention is the baby. So he's in the news following a video that was recorded of teenage boys. I knew you was gonna do that. That's why I already played to keep on going.
Hey, we got some people in here, and they want to know who baby she talking about.
No,
I'm telling you,
not doing it. Not doing it.
Ain't Weeda, ain't Marita.
Not doing it.
Paul.
Not doing it.
Coming in talking about what did I mean?
No, you know what? He needs to go back to the beginning. You missed a lot, sir.
What baby you talking about?
So, a video was recorded of two teenage boys trying to sell candy for $2 a piece. They both had, like, you know, those big boxes of candy you get from Sam's or somewhere. So they on the street selling them. The baby asked them, "How much your box of candy?" They're like $200 for the box. Both of them, $200 for the box. And he said, "Wait a minute, how much are they a piece?" They said $2 a piece. He was like, "Well, it's only 34 pieces of candy in there. So how is that $200? So he basically told the boys that since they tried to play him, he was only going to buy one thing of candy from the both of them. So he gave one $2 and the other $2. He went on to say that he was going to bless them with $200 each, but they didn't keep it real. People are going in on him, saying that for first of all, for him showing their faces and kind of clowning them, and saying that he could have just taught them a lesson without the cameras rolling. This could have been a learning opportunity for them, and he could have still gave them the $2 each, but not really embarrassed them, because you can kind of tell in the video they were a little embarrassed, like, yeah, we tried to hustle him and he caught us. So what are your thoughts on that? Did he handle this situation good, or should he have handled it differently?
Mika, I'll let you go here.
I believe in teaching a good lesson, but I think it's a way to do things. For him to record it, that's why I was like, nah, bro, don't record them.
Yeah.
Because they miss the lesson and they see that you embarrass them. So I wouldn't have put him out like that. Now I would have bought a few more than one, but I would have said, "Hey, you missed your $200 because you lied. Here's $10 each," and went on. But I think they missed the lesson because they were too embarrassed about how he done them. So I don't think I would have recorded it at all. And he put it out.
Yeah, that was the thing. I think he recorded it and then posted it. And then even after they closed the door and the boys are gone, he like, haha, they tried to play me. And he's showing all this money that he has. I'm like, that was kind of whack to me. Like, those are kids still at the end of the day.
Let me ask Mika, since she said they missed the lesson and the embarrassment. Did you miss the lesson when Mama jumped in that bathtub with you when we was talking
No,
trash?
no.
Did you miss that lesson or did you get it? Or
No,
was
she
it
missed it
embarrassing?
because she
Huh?
got slapped the next.
I missed it.
Nah, I bet you got it. No, I'm in agreement. I definitely would have taught him the lesson by only buying the one box apiece. If that, I might have just said, I'm out. I ain't buying nothing because y'all tried to play me. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have recorded them. I may have recorded the lesson. I may have, maybe went live and talked about what had happened. Hey, a couple of kids tried to sell me candy. Here's a lesson for you other kids that are watching. Be honest, whatever, and went that way, but not necessarily put their faces or whatever on it. So, but I think he did the right thing in terms of withholding what he would have done. That's a valuable lesson.
Right.
And whatnot. All right. Charlotte Wilson says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Charlotte. Rita Wiley laughing at Mika's embarrassment. Arlene says, hey guys, this is the same Arlene who says she be talking to us on the podcast, but we don't answer her back.
Is that what she said?
Oh yeah. Now this is the same one. Who thought when you turned DVDs back into Blockbuster, you had to rewind DVDs too. Not Blockbuster, but what's that little red box? So hi Arlene, wave back at us, girl.
Hey Arlene.
No, girl, we didn't hear you.
I bet she's saying something now. A-Trap said agreed. All right. You got another story for us on These Streets of Talking. What they talking about? So we got to develop us a segment sounder, some music and some graphics and stuff like that. We got to get that done. When we go to this segment, we can play that sounder.
We do. Okay, so another story that is out right now that a lot of people had a lot of comments, and I've kind of seen this kind of going around Facebook too with pictures and asking people what their thoughts are. So give you a little backstory. So Joshua Jackson, he was a star of, I think, Dawson's Creek. He is married to Jodie Turner-Smith, and she was the star of Queen and Slim. So, yeah.
Joshua Jackson is his name?
Joshua Jackson.
Okay. Let me Google him right quick.
Yeah, Google him. Okay, so
how you spell Jackson?
Hey.
So he was on the Tonight Show, and they were asking him just about, because they just had a baby together and all this kind of stuff. So they were asking him, did he always know? Yes, that's them. Did he always know that he would get married to Jodie? And he said, and what was the moment when he knew? He said when she asked him. So he revealed on the show that she actually proposed to him instead of him proposing to her while they were on the beach. So a lot of people were going off in the comments like, ladies, let's do better. It's too many, and there's been pictures of women proposing to their men. What do y'all feel about this? Is that something that should be kept with a man proposing to a woman? Or is it wrong for a woman to propose to a man?
Depending on how fine she is. Next.
Ridiculous.
Go ahead, Vic. I'm gonna let you go first.
My Bible say when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing.
You need to Google that to make sure we get
it right. Favor from the Lord.
Bless them.
This the Tulsa version of the Bible. All right, yeah. So you say it's wrong, that you shouldn't do it?
I didn't say it was wrong.
Mm-hmm. You would do it. You do it? Would you do it?
No, because y'all didn't want to take me there, because I feel like a man knows if he wants to marry you within a short amount of time anyway. And if he ain't popped a question, sis, and y'all have y'all had conversations about this? Have you, told him how you feel? Have you given him a chance? And then if you've done all that, you still go propose? He didn't want it, in my opinion.
Did he? What was the result? Did he say yes or no?
He said yes, and that was the best decision he ever made because they are so madly in love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he should have made that decision and proposed.
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all what I'd have did in a minute, but let me get a couple of these comments in there. H-Rap says I may be praying for Texas H-Rap to be true. Coming to Texas. And on the other story, let's go back and get Frank's comment on this. Okay. Now, one thing that I should say, let me hide them so folks don't be reading it and listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
Generally, when we have certain topics, I will mention that we foster an environment of positive disagreement, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it is okay for us to disagree. You know, you're not less than, I'm not less than, just because we don't see things exactly eye to eye. Everybody here on Queen3 and King don't see everything eye to eye. We just don't, right? If we did, the world would be a completely different place. But at the very least, we have the discussion. And 9 times out of 10, if you discuss it in a respectful manner, right, you just might change somebody's mind. You know? Sometimes way you discuss something or the way you start showing offense that somebody thinks differently than you lose them anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So in H-Rap, I want you to make some comments about that talk, because again, that's one thing I picked up from you early on the End of the Bench podcast. That comes on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. and Saturdays at 5 p.m. So I want you to comment on that too. Give us more, elaborate on that topic about disagreement, right? Just so I can make sure I'm getting it right. So we want to foster that environment. So with that said, Frank on the last story says, nah, the baby did right. They felt entitled to do what the baby could give them, or entitled to what the baby could give them because of who he was. Someone with means is already used to people attempting to hustle and take from them what they've earned. He should have filmed it. People are out here feeling entitled to stuff that they haven't done anything to deserve it. So, hey, that's
good point.
I'm not, again, my kids will tell you they were embarrassed often with me about certain things. So we'd have to ask them, did they lose the lessons or not? I don't know. Arlene says I wasn't doing it when we were talking about whether she was speaking back to us. I'm willing to bet she did say, I ain't saying nothing to y'all. Transcend Mondex says, what the mind say? I don't know what he means by that.
I don't know.
Is
he talking about this? I don't know.
Rucker Park says, I agree. I think she basically agreed with our stance on what the baby did, if I'm not mistaken.
I think she agreed with me too.
Oh, on the marriage proposals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wida says, if you're really waiting on God, a woman should not do it. Excellent point. Please repeat. I got a phone call. If I got a phone call. So I talked about positive disagreement, fostering an environment of positive disagreement. What is your stance on that? You always talk about that. And I want you just to put it more concisely than I've been able to do. Charlotte Wilson says there are some modern couples who are okay with either partner doing what has traditionally thought of as being assigned. I'm old fashioned though, and I feel like men should be the one to propose. And with that, I'll give my answer. Long and short of it is, I agree, the man should do the proposal. However, I'm not going to break up with her because she proposed. I'm going to help her up off the sand. I'm going to do a little stuff like that. And I'm going to say, appreciate it, but that's my role, when it's time. I'm flattered, I'm glad you, and I'm not saying that I don't want to marry, I would explain to her what the deal was, but, baby, let me do that, when it's time, when the Lord instructs me to do so. Now, I don't think I would have to do that because I'm going to establish those ground rules, so to speak. I'm going to establish, how I see relationships early anyway. So anybody I'm with probably ain't going to roll that way anyway, but, like Charlotte said, some modern couples do that. And it works for them.
Right.
And everybody ain't Christians. Everybody don't go with what the Bible says for one reason or another. So I'm one of the least judgmental dudes you'll ever meet. So
Right.
I'm not judging you for what you do. You do what you do. And if if you like it, I love it. Matter of fact, I think one time when Weta was introducing us to one of her exes, I told him when I met him, I'm like, hey, ain't if you like him, I love him, and I meant it, so same thing with those couples. If they want to do it, that's them,
Yeah.
And if the dude is okay with it, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. He's okay with it.
Yeah.
Quite often we get into stuff that ain't got nothing to do with us. No way. What is it? Who cares? What, is it something that is destroying the fabric of who we are as a people or who society is, et cetera, et cetera? Is it really? Or is that fabric already ripped anyway?
Right.
And ain't getting put back together in all likelihood. So yeah, whatever you want to do, you do, Any other thoughts on that, what these couples do? But again, it also depends on how fine she is.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be like, you mean that? Yeah.
That was dumb.
Yeah, real fine. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That boy said,
Look at this, boo. I had
Bye.
so many proposals.
now, you ain't had to do that lie. You could say that lie.
I really said shaking my head. All right. That's you got it. Wait a minute. Wheeler says Ted busted.
Oh my God.
All right. So any other, that's it on the streets, Lily?
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right. All right, so we got a couple of more questions or angles on this thing. So we're gonna start with Mika on this. What do you wish you knew then that you know now in terms of relationships? And go.
Ooh, you should let me study for this test before
What you talking about? You know what we
You need to study.
I need to study a little bit. Put my thoughts down. That it's okay to fail.
Mm-hmm.
All relationships aren't going to end. And sometimes you get with people you're like, I'm marrying him. And sometimes it's simply a lesson.
Right.
And you stay in there too long.
Right.
You've got that lesson. Go. Let's go.
Yep.
So that it's okay to fail at relationships, but don't keep repeating that same mistake. Learn from it, apply it to the next one, and hopefully, when you get married, you've learned that, you've applied all the things that you learned from the past, get that lesson, and don't keep repeating it and having to get.
Right. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, let me just tell the viewers something, because apparently viewers like Craig and others want to text me their responses instead of putting it in a comment.
Hello.
Put it in the comments what you think, so I don't have to
Love
be
it.
I agree with Mika. I don't care. Tell Mika you agree with her. All right. So a couple more comments before we get to Lily's answer about the relationships. I asked him to put in there about the disagreement. He goes, I think it's extremely important to have a conversation that both parties will be heard. Otherwise, you're living in an echo chamber. Yeah. And that's a fantastic point. Lena says she learned, don't settle. It's okay to be by yourself. Okay. Love yourself to the fullest so you can be loved properly. That is a good point. Charlotte Wilson says communication and honesty are key. Open-mindedness and listening are also important. And then Lena says she also learned wait on God.
Yep.
All right.
And can I answer the last?
Oh yeah, please go for it.
And once you see 2 or 3 or 4 or 7 or 10, 12 red flags,
oh, wow.
don't keep saying, oh, but maybe.
Don't get to 7 or 12.
Love is blind.
That's what Eve said.
And it'll take over
So,
your mind.
you know, like I said, get that lesson so you don't have to like test it. Don't go to 7 to 10. Like, you know, and when you pray for stuff, I know I have when you say, God, can you show me if this person I did? And he's sitting in your lap and you're like, okay, Lord, are you sure? Can you show me again? Can you show me again? Be accepting of those red flags.
Yeah.
And go ahead, get out of it peacefully. You know, you don't have to be enemies, but you just know y'all not meant to be together.
Right, exactly.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna bless you on the way out. All right, a couple of comments. Grace said, don't be afraid to have the difficult conversations and be strong enough to walk the hell away.
Yeah.
All right.
Charlotte Wilson says, don't rush things. Timing is everything. Nina says, don't ignore the flags. I'm glad you put that L in there.
Oh, yikes.
For the slow people.
Yikes.
I'm glad you put that L in there. Brian says, say that again, Mika. Yeah. That's okay. We got a time limit. She can't say it. Jennifer says, take time to heal between relationships so you don't carry the hurt to the next man.
Yes, Lord.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Lily, what do you wish you learned before you met Brandon?
I think I think it's just always important to know your worth and keep yourself first. So don't, kind of like what Shalina said, don't settle or don't think that you have to put up with things just to be with somebody. I've known so many people to be like, that's my man, I'm gonna stick beside him. But I'm like, he dogging you in these streets. So I just think that we have to know our worth and not settle. And also know that some relationships, it's not always going to be roses. You go through growing pains. You're constantly learning your partner. So I think it's just always important to have those conversations. Be okay with criticism as long as it's constructive. If I'm telling my partner, this is what hurt me, this is what, and they have something that hurt them, I got to be willing to listen to that just like I gave it to them. So just having that patience.
Okay, so I'm going to comment on a couple of things that you said. There's a very thin line between putting yourself first and being considerate to others, right? You know, because we have this whole thing, especially, you know, Christians and whatnot, about being considerate to others. And actually, you know, there's a scripture that talks about sitting in the back of the room and being asked to the front of the room. It's all about humility and that type of thing, right? So considering others first, there's a thin line between that and still making sure you're okay. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to find that thin line. There's not this wide divide between those two things, right?
Very true.
And then you talked about the conversation of, you know, if I say something, I got to be willing to take it when you say something. Well, the timing of that is an issue, right?
Yeah.
If I'm telling you that I got an issue, now is not the time to come say, well, I got an issue with that too.
Last night you pissed me off.
Because if you had something to say, you should have said it, you know, when you had it. Don't use it at those times, because what it's going to appear is that it is a defense mechanism to what I'm saying. And you're not listening. This is another thing H-Rap says. You're not listening to what I have to say. You're waiting on your turn to speak. You know? So you need to really hear that individual out to demonstrate that what you're saying is important. I respect it and I value it. And if you got an issue, you got to communicate it when it's an issue, you know, or when God releases you to do so. But don't start talking about what you got a problem with every time I start talking. And I'll give mine in just a moment. We got about 5 minutes left. So Chastity says, communicate expectations and what you're not willing to tolerate from the beginning. That way I don't have expectations of my spouse that he's not willing to meet, and we're not violating each other's boundaries. And have those conversations often, right? Because my expectations changed as my different roles changed. Fantastic. Girlfriend, wife, and then mom. All right. And Charlotte says, know who you are in a relationship with. Don't think they're going to change or feel like you're going to change them. People show you who they are.
Yes, Lord.
Exactly. Rabia says tit for tat whenever, and I'm sure she was commenting on my don't wait till I say something to come to say. So the thing that I learned that I wish I knew then that I know now is the importance of, and I'm going to use a few terms: transparency, vulnerability, and communication. Okay. So transparency, so they can know exactly what I felt at all times. Vulnerability, see, some people in relationships are afraid to tell somebody, I miss you, I love you, I was thinking about you, because they think they're going to get taken advantage of, so now early on for me, transparency and vulnerability are extremely important. Properly setting expectations. Somebody talked about that, right? You got to properly set expectations. That can save you a whole lot of time. This is what the deal is up front, and I think somebody else said it earlier. It does not mean that you are bad people if things just don't mesh with us. It's just, that's just what it is, so in addition to that, transparency, vulnerability, setting proper expectations, you have to operate with intent and you have to operate purposefully, so do things intentionally and purposefully, those conversations. I have those conversations with intent. I have those conversations with purpose, because I'm going somewhere. My goals here in this relationship are this, and if yours don't align, then hey, let's shake hands and go to our neutral corners, and call it a day, because like I said, everybody ain't meant for everybody, so like I said, if I'd have known that, I remember in a relationship one time, we were having a heated fellowship for Christians. And I said to her, if you heard what I tell the people at work about you, and I heard myself say that, and I'm like, well, hey, why am I telling them and not telling you? It was a valuable lesson to me that, yeah, you feel that way and you genuinely feel that way, but you're not sharing it with her, with the most important person to share it with, so from that point forward, I said to myself, I am going to always be vulnerable enough and transparent enough to tell you, if I miss you, I miss you. And I ain't scared. A lot of people think vulnerability is a sign of weakness, but vulnerability is one of the shows of the ultimate strength. Vulnerability and transparency is super important. And with that said, I'm gonna pass the love offering. And hey, bless the church today. Shannon Thomas said that part 100. Bobby, see, you know what I'm gonna start doing? I'm gonna put you on probation, show probation, to where you're gonna be banned from commenting, or I'm gonna be especially he told it on himself that his main goal of every show is to make us laugh with a comment. That's all he cares about. All right, yeah, like Mika said, yeah, Natalie done made you cry before.
Yeah.
When you got in the car, you start crying.
Your stomach start hurting, and you start
crying when you get in the car.
Right. All right. So our thoughts in closing. So we'll go around the horn, starting with Lily, and let you say what you want to say in terms of this wisdom, experience, and what you wish you would have known then that you know now. What are your closing thoughts?
I think that we just have to give ourselves grace in life. Of always learning. Life is a learning experience. I don't think you ever stop learning. You learn to handle situations different. You have to be okay, like I said in the beginning, with being wrong. And that took me a long time to be like, at least you're wrong. Like, accept that and move on. So took a lot. But
you're your dad's daughter.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
But I know.
Putting my fish water in the freezer because you think it's
don't talk about my daddy.
Don't air him out, though. Don't air him out. Don't air him out.
He was gonna be swimming.
But yeah, just learning to be wrong in life and knowing that you grow from your mistakes. It gets greater. Lots of experiences that I've been through that I'm like, I'm glad I went through them. It didn't feel good at the time, but now I'm glad I went through them because it's taught me now how to move forward. So I hope y'all enjoyed the show, and I appreciate all of the love and support conversation. Y'all make each week fun, and it goes by way too fast.
Too fast. Yep. All right, Mika, what do you got?
Just to keep it quick and cute.
God, today.
WTF are you doing?
I don't know where that came from. But
keep what cute quick.
Oh, she was feeling herself on that part.
I don't know why.
Hikey hat.
Yeah,
hikey hat.
But to just put it simply, age does not equate to wisdom.
Oh yeah.
Experience is the key to wisdom. So whatever you learn, make sure to apply it to life. And y'all, let's not be selfish with the information that we know. If you see someone going through a similar situation, if you see someone having a hard time or struggling with something that you've been through, or you know somebody who's, excelled through that and made it, help that person. So I think whatever experience we have, share them. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You made it through it. You're better because of it. So share your wisdom, y'all. Don't keep it for yourself.
That's a good point. And that ties in with what I was going to say in the sense that, so when you say that, in order for that to be the case, in order for you to be in a position to be able to do that, you have to conduct yourself and carry yourself in a manner with which that's going to be received, right? If you are constantly walking around in a certain state or not, one of the things that y'all daddy used to say all the time is, in order to be friendly, you must first show yourself friendly, right? You say it all the time. So you gotta, be a friend first, right? You got to put yourself in that situation, but if they don't trust you, then you can't, you see something, you can't say something, So ultimately, again, I mentioned things that I learned from Pastor back in the day. And one of the things that he said was that a lot of times we don't go through what we go through for us. We go through it for somebody else, so we can help them. But if you are not approachable, if you're not in a situation to where, they trust you, et cetera, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And that leads me directly into my closing thoughts. And that is maintain a teachable spirit. You're never too old to learn, right? You can learn something new every day. And if your disposition is correct and you keep a teachable spirit, life will be much simpler. One of the things that I was going to talk about today, if we had time, was it necessary, right? We spent this entire podcast talking about what do I wish I would have knew then I didn't know now. Well, guess what? It was probably necessary. So even though we wish it, you had to go through it, because guess what? A lesson bought is more valuable than a lesson taught. So I can tell you that if you go bump your head through it, it's probably going to be more meaningful to you anyway. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. We can wish it away all we want, but sometimes you got to go through it yourself. And with that being said, we certainly appreciate you for tuning in to another episode of Queen3 and King. We missed, again, the oldest queen out of Anna, Texas, out of East Garland, darling Nikki Coco. So we will see her next week. Again, we hope to see you back here next week as well. Follow us on our Facebook page. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. All the support we can get, we appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
We thank y'all.
Bye.
Are we smiling or what are we doing?
The Queen Bee has arrived.
What's your out then? So I'm gonna start with both of y'all's hands right here.
Look for my thumb.
Look for your thumb.
Like if you can see my thumb on this mic.